Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be going over gaps, my perspective on it, and nothing kind of more than that, so please take it as my perspective. This is no really official guide on that, but just my years of trading kind of perspective on gaps. So what we covered: single prints, other market profile and efficiencies, my favorite gaps to trade, kind of how I'd look to trade them as well, and other nuances involving that. Again, thank you for Works for sponsoring this video. You can check them out in the link below. Again, if you want to have a free month of Exocharts, you could use that. Please sign up through the Discord as well. Like if you're adding your WooX links and or your UIDs, just submit them through Discord. That's the easiest place right now. I've got tons of those, so yeah, just running through those as and when we can. But yeah, thank you WooX for sponsoring this video, and let's get into it. So single prints, and I'll be going over Exocharts and all these different tools. They won't be just stuck on this keynote as well. So yeah, single print gaps. Generally, I'm looking at this through the 30-minute time frame on the market profile. A set of single prints are formed amongst price moving quickly through a region. You then have three variables. So I've really briefly touched upon this second point here, but I'll show examples in a second. You then have three variables, at least in my opinion: the start of the single prints, the filling of the single prints, and kind of the filling or the middle, and then you have the end of the single prints as to when it is filled. Okay, so if we just head over to Exocharts, for example, and we load up, this is my TPO chart. Okay, TPO charts, and you can see I've got tons of different TPOs available. So what we'll do here is, you can see here really clearly you've got this set of single prints. So single prints are simply formed off of one blocks on the chart. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it too well here, but you have one block, one block, one block, one block, one block, and then here is two blocks. So this is where two blocks on either side. This segment here where you have one blocks on the TPO is where the single print lies. So it's technically this whole region here. Now what you can see here is that I've only got one ray coming out from it, and you can see there's a SP which identifies how many blocks it is and the range of in reference to price that it's coming from. But you can see here that this is a single print. Price has moved one 30-minute candle through this piece of price action only, and that has created this inefficiency where maybe orders are getting missed, slippage is occurring, etc. But yeah, you have three segments to this. So if I just go into chart settings, TPO, single prints, we can unselect this and we'll put this on auto. Okay, and you can see a few different things here. So now it's extended to see the whole thing, and you have two different things. So what I'm defining as almost the start of the single prints is, you, depending on which way you're looking at this, okay, right, you have this whole range here, and we're going to mark this out quickly in some sort of row. So this is the single print. So once it's formed, I'm viewing the start of the single prints as here, as once price touches the first block of this move again. Okay, so it's touching this is the first touch, the first move into it. Okay, the medium part is kind of whilst it's in the middle of it, and then once it's filled is this final minor ray that I've got at the top here, which we'll go over now. There's a few different things to reference towards that in a second. We'll cover that now actually, but you have these three different things, and I'm going to talk about which ones are my favorite. But just so you understand how these gaps work, even if we head over to TradingView, you can identify this through TradingView if you're looking for different gaps. Okay, where is there one piece of 30-minute candle coming into play, here and to here, it's to where this is really small. It's a really small gap there. But yeah, 30-minute time frames, looking for that. Just heading back over to this. So there's other market profile inefficiencies, buying tails and selling tails. I'm just going over the basics of this all before I go into it and how to trade it. Buying tails and selling tails. Now I don't have these marked out on the chart, okay, but they're essentially at the top and bottom of the profile. Okay, so for example up here, and these, like you can mention here, they're essentially single prints but only at the very top and bottom of profiles. So here, for example, 1 2 3 4, this is like a 5 block, and this is a single print slash market selling tail at the top. Okay, this is a selling tail. These are probably one of my favorites to trade, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But yeah, that's that. I like to see partial fills on these. Again, wick fills is a complete thread I did on this on X. You can go and search it up. Wick fills by me. Just go find it there. But yeah, those are the kind of the main ones that I'm trading, is single prints and buying tails and selling tails. Now let's talk about how and the different ways I like to trade them. Okay, because that's probably what you're here for. It's fairly basic that we've just gone through. But partial fills. So my favorite gaps to trade are partial fills of buying and selling tails. Okay, so for example, when you see, for example, the first, because this was a selling tail. So you've got the first move up, okay, price comes back down, you have this candle here. It's happened. This wasn't planned to look at this, but this is where your initial selling tail really started from. This gap here, okay. So if we're ignoring all of this price action, okay, this is where the selling tail started, and you could see here what I would have been looking for. So you would have had this. And we could have used the replay feature, but I can't be bothered, if I'm being honest with you, to fill that in. And a partial fill is where kind of you get the first move into it, and it's like a very partial fill. It could fill a bit more, but the idea is that it moves into it. It doesn't take out the very end of the selling tail in this case, and it then sees a reversal. And these offer really good opportunities, at least from my experience, through seeing these partial fills. I mean, if we look again here, where people, and I'll talk to you through why I think this actually occurred, because you have it again at the very lows here. I mean, it's not easily identifiable because you've had the price action actually beyond that, but this was the case. You have another one here where this is your selling tail, or buying tail in this case. Again, selling tails at the top, buying tails at the bottom, and you get this partial fill. Again, I'm not marking this part here because that is, there's 30-minute candle participating there, but you have this partial fill. And now the reason I think this is theory, it's not really, none of this can be necessarily me saying it's set in stone, it's 100% reason, but you will generally see people anticipating this to be filled. You get new shorts entering towards the lows. What you can actually do here, let's look at this. We'll turn on delta. Okay, I don't know if this is going to look very well, but you'd look through here. We'll just change this to 150, and you can see the delta coming in towards these lows. Again, you have to refer this with open interest, but as you get this kind of partial fill, okay, so highlighting something like this is where you get your fill partially, okay. You then have people selling in anticipation, almost, in my opinion, that the whole inefficiency gets filled and that you do see the swing pivot taken out. This is really, really good trades, in my opinion, especially after you put in a really nice low and then you get this partial fill and you get generally a decent move out of it. This isn't almost to say where to be looking to take these trades almost. I could just say waffle and, say, look, take it to the next liquidity point. But that obviously is very much day and trade dependent. Okay, but in terms of levels of interest, these partial fills on buying tails and selling tails are my favorite ones to be trading. Now, I will say this as well, that it doesn't, from my experience, doesn't necessarily work as well when I'm, it's from my testing, when I'm looking at regular single prints. So, for example, when you have a single print which is in the middle of a profile, I don't necessarily get this partial fill scenario working as well. It tends to work better, okay, when you're looking almost just at the extremes, people trying to trade towards those extremes, getting trapped offside, then seeing a move. Again, you've seen it. I discussed it here again. You've got another one here where you have this tail. Again, a new day has begun, so you've got a new profile. This is where your single print is, or in a buying tail. You then have, so this is that tail here. You then partial fill, people moving into it. Again, I'm assuming you got, using open interest alongside this, new shorts coming to the market. They're then offside if you want to see that move, and you then see a move to the upside. Really, really powerful, okay, to be looking at stuff like this, in my opinion. For these partial fills, you will get some really solid trades from them. Just as something to add to your arsenal and referring to your levels of interest, these partial fills on that. So how would I go about doing this on a day-to-day basis? Well, I'd go back and I'd go, are there any massive selling tails or buying tails, at least local to price? Not really today. I mean, you have this small one down here. I wouldn't really refer to that too much. Are there any massive buying or selling tails that, could get partially filled, or people are looking for the extremes to be taken? I would say there's only one up here. You do have this one up here, which is fairly large. And you could definitely look towards this. I actually looked towards this on the day it was. But you would look for, and it generally is better to see this on the day of it occurring, where you would see a move into this partial fill, and then you see the drop off with people trying to, maybe market long in anticipation of the extreme being hit. Okay, and obviously when I'm referring to market long and all of this stuff, what I would recommend is obviously looking at a footprint like this and going off of this type of data. Again, this is a range chart. I won't cover this within this video, but hopefully that makes sense in reference to, partial fills. So then you have single prints first touch. Generally comes into confluence with series of higher lows or lower highs, liquidity being around. So what do I mean by that is, if we head over to, we'll head over to Exo again, doesn't really matter. But I'll do a drawing out. I'm going to do a drawing. So if we have, for example, you see a very quick move up, okay? And this creates kind of your single print, which is here, for example. This is your single print in the middle of the profile. Important to note that. And then you then have a series of higher lows just about building up before here. Now, what I mean by trading the gap is almost the first move into this, just the first move before then looking for a move up. Now, why, and if this was inverted, then the opposite in reference to a short. Now, why is that? Because you're looking almost at, you have series of high lows here resting, and then you run all this liquidity in reference to high lows. You then see maybe new shorts piling in there, and people getting stopped. This is double confirms because you've got people stops being hit, whilst also people maybe anticipating a breakdown short and bearish, and then you see a move up. I don't like this one as much. I still do like this one quite a bit. But yeah, my favorite is those the partial fills on the buying tails and selling tails. Those ones are extraordinary, at least right now. That could change in the future, and there is no definite realization of that, and that's why I always go on about journaling. Again, you can use CoinMarketMan free with that Wewex link below. I don't know why I'm shilling it so much, but you could use it, for those who want to journal, because I think it's just such an important factor to the game, if I'm honest with you, and this is a game. So that's what I'd look for in reference to, the first touch of a single print, the very first move into a single print after a series of, in this case, higher lows, or if opposite. God, I really made a mountain out of this. Yeah, price has dropped. You got your single print here, for example, with your lower highs here, and then you see the move into it, and then you see a bigger dump. That is a big option there. So hopefully that makes sense in reference to how I like to trade them. Okay, generally, comes to conclusion with that. Those are the two ways I like to trade it. Again, there's going to be tons of different people out there saying there's this way to trade it, this way to trade it. I'm not against any of them. I'm just simply talking about the way I trade it, and the way that I found beneficial to myself. Again, what to look for. These are just very, I don't even know why I made a slide for this. Just very general triggers are volume spikes and open interest increases. With this, let's close this, open this. You want to see generally a spike in volume into this, because it's commonly known that spikes in volume generally tend to lead to reversals. I would say I always go on about this, but it's always extremely important. Also, you'd want to be looking at open interest increases to the upside, new longs coming in with positive delta into this, region where you're looking to sell, or shorts excessively coming into this region where you're looking to long, those type of things. And I've done a whole video on kind of how to read the footprint chart. There's a whole guide on it. It's somewhere on the channel, like within the last few weeks or so. Highly recommend you go and watch that, because that will tell you a bit more about the footprint chart and looking for different reversals. This is just kind of giving you the levels and the regions to be looking for those type of reactions. And there's a whole video on like entry triggers and all that stuff there, which I highly recommend you go watch. They're all free. That's OI, OI open interest increasing, people expecting fills. I think that's the biggest thing with this, is that you generally will have these. Something I didn't mention, I actually want to quickly rewind here, is that, what would happen if we're in the middle of these single prints? What do I do? Well, generally, I just don't participate in that. I'm not a big fan of diddling where almost, there's nothing there. You generally would then expect the fill. You want to see the reaction upon the first touch. I'm not the biggest fan upon trading the last touch, although that's also an option to be trading with a similar mindset. But the first ones, the partial fills, the first moves into them, those and the ones that I've discussed are the most important. But hopefully that makes sense. So let's go to the next one. You can look for gaps in TradingView without Exo. So I thought I'd bring this up as well. TradingView have this TPO thing. I've done again, there's a video on how to set this up if you want. This is really, really ugly view, but there's a whole video I've done on the channel about setting this up if you want. There's that. If you don't have to pay for Exo, again, obviously I'm there. I'm partnered and working with them all. But this is if you have TradingView Premium and you want to use this as well to see it, then go for it. But if you want Exo for free as well, you can use get a month for free there. In that case, so again, you can access with the premium plan. I personally look at all of these for Exocharts. So hopefully this has made sense. I don't want to ramble on too much about everything, but you get the gist of what I like to trade. The favorite parts being, something I just wanted to talk about honestly in the video, were these partial buying tail and selling tail fills. they work well. People anticipating the extremes to be filled, and then getting absolutely wrecked. And you can identify that through the chart info. I'll do a video soon on Exocharts aggregated data on this channel, because that's something I know everyone kind of wants to see. And that will be coming soon. So thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.